The barbell, by comparison to any previously existing tool, is almost a miracle.
It's kind of a weird time of year because I'm always used to you getting here to the gym and immediately, having to use the facilities.
Okay.
And I know why.
Oh, why is that?
Because dead of summer, the last thing I know you want to do is go out at your homestead to your outhouse and just deal with the weather.
I have legitimately, like, when it's hot in the gym and I have to go use the restroom.
Yeah.
I'll legitimately go up to Casey's because it's air conditioned in there. Because I'm not.
But that's why, like, I was kind of like you just, this may be peeking behind the curtain a little too much for you, but Nate had to use the bathroom for the millionth time before we started this podcast. And this is the time of year that I feel like you'll go at home more because that outhouse is like now your temperature.
I have running water and indoor plumbing.
Oh, we're not telling them. I'm sorry. Yeah,
I do have. I have all of those modern conveniences. Okay.
No, I mean all.
I don't have central heating and air.
Yeah. Okay. So not all. Let me ask this: if a fire were to break out, it's like a volunteer firefighter, right? It's not the full blown like.
No, maybe a volunteer firefighter would get there first.
I just don't think
I'm in Boone County, though. I pay taxes in Boone County. Okay,
well,
so they would come.
Taxes.
They would come. They would get there.
You hope.
Yeah, and I'm not expecting them to. Yeah.
Because
I would stop the fire myself.
Ooh, I like that answer. Big bearded man putting a fire out.
I've plowed the roads on my own because nobody came.
Good grief. Plowed the roads.
Yeah, I plowed the roads because nobody came.
Man.
Yeah, that's because I'm out there on my own.
I like that.
Really quickly, so tomorrow, dude, I'm going to drop this episode. I'm going to maybe think about dropping this episode tomorrow instead of our other one.
Sick.
Because it's tomorrow. It's Thanksgiving.
Oh, for giving thanks and such. Yeah, I know, man. I love that. We need to talk a lot about that and talk about what the plate is going to look like. We kind of did that on the other cast.
Well, but I just wanted to say that I don't know how it is for you, but like I'm cutting right now, but I'm still probably not going to worry about it much tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I may a little bit, I may try to somewhat, but that's only because nobody's going to be there.
I don't think you should worry about it, man. I think that's a good topic we need to get into is like live your life,
Yeah, I don't think you should be
LYL, baby.
Also, for the majority of people that are like, "Oh, I'm going to be conservative."
Yeah. It's
like, why? You're not I mean, because you're not trying to step on stage like as a bodybuilder. It's like if you're your average strength sports person, and even if you are trying to cut weight, it's like this one day is not going to make a difference. But also, it's like, I'm not really going to worry about it, like I said, because it's just like a low-key one with my family. Like, in the past, if it was going to be like all my family was going to be there and stuff, I'm making sure that everyone knows. I'm making sure everybody knows, like, who's in charge. You know what I mean by that?
Sure.
Like, if it's like I got my cousins coming.
Peeing in the corner and stuff.
Marking my territory. If I had extended family coming and it was like all my cousins and stuff, I would be like, hey, like I'm gonna make sure that you all know that like I'm the one in this room that benches 4 plates.
Sure.
Like you got like I'm gonna like because I'm not gonna let my like sloppy fat cousin out eat me. You know what I mean?
Not a chance.
I'm gonna be like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be like, hey.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna go do some manual labor out in the backyard.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be like,
just digging a hole that doesn't need to be dug.
Yeah, because like that's what you got to do. Like when I was growing up, it was like, all right, I'm getting my mind right because I'm gonna try to impress my dad.
Sure.
I'm gonna be like, look, this is gonna be.
Now the question is, because this can go both ways. Do you skip breakfast to make more room?
It just depends.
Because sometimes when I've done that.
It's backfired?
It's backfired.
Yeah,
it's
me too.
It's a weird low capacity.
Me too.
So I feel like you need some warm-up.
Yeah, you got to go like a moderate breakfast.
Yeah. I think you need to do like a high-protein, low-carb breakfast. I don't know if that's
Do you guys have a fireplace at your house?
Yeah, 2 of them.
Hey. Okay, look, let's...
Oh, I just thought...
no.
You meant my 2,800 square foot...
No, I'm not talking about
style.
like your lake chateau and like your like guest houses and stuff. I'm talking about just in your main house.
Yeah, 2 of them.
All right, look.
Only one at my parents', but... it's whatever. Whatever.
Do you guys do like wood? Like, do you use them?
Briar does.
For what?
Not the one at my house. The one at my house is like a legit like wood burning one.
Yeah,
we haven't cracked those on yet. We probably should, but it's also like, you got to make sure what was that, creosote or whatever. You got to make sure they're cleaned out or whatever.
Yeah.
I haven't done that since I moved in. It was supposedly done when I moved in, but I'm just like a worrier, so it's like, I'll burn my house down.
Well, the reason I was saying that is because like here in the next month or so, I'm gonna start like doing like wood season.
I love that.
And I could get you some wood because I have so many fallen trees that it's bananas, and I need to work on them.
I have a ton of wood at my house, and all of it's bad. Like, I need to get a hot fire going in the fire pit outside just to get rid of it.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
I have that too. Where I got wet over and over.
Well, I inherited all of it, so it's like a bunch of wood piles, and which wouldn't be bad to do like a big fire pit some Saturday. Just have a 12-hour fire going.
That'd be sick.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be dope.
Yeah. I forgot the transition I was going to go through.
We should do that.
Down whenever, dude.
We should do that and just roast a bunch of weenies.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
And like,
bunch of weens.
Get it.
So we have. I wanted to talk about this really quickly. We kind of made it in a weird way, podcast wise.
Really?
We had our first hater.
Oh, sweet. Who was it? Did you know that? No, who was it?
It was one of our very first listeners talking about how it's not actually that hard to get clothes when you're a big man.
Yeah.
And I want this to be on the record. We were set straight that it's way harder to find an adult large shirt than it is to find, basically anything else, but like 2-3X or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So now we know.
Okay.
So we can just strike that from the record that our life has been a lie. And it was probably in the back. That's probably our bad. We didn't ask, hey, do you have a box of 3XL talls
in the back?
Just I don't. Back there in the dopest of clothes.
Yeah, I don't. I just can't. I can't get behind that, man.
Yeah,
I can't get behind that.
So it's your closed mind. It's your closed mindedness, and it's going to ruin our podcast. But that's okay. I'm going to ride the ship straight to the depths of hell with you. So,
I mean, it's not that we're not. It's not that we're not the only one with problems. It's not like it's that, because that's the other funny thing. Is like we're not saying that we're the only ones. It's just like from our perspective. But there actually legitimately are things like that, like
for sure.
Because I mean, it doesn't just fall into that. But what about shoes?
Yeah.
You're telling me you can walk in and you can't find a size pair of eight pair.
The funny part about that one is because I know from this very first hater of ours that when you have a small enough foot, you can buy child sizes.
Right, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
come on.
You definitely can shop. If anything, you have more variety.
Yeah, right. That's true.
No. To be real, though, I think that's what's fun about Big Man Problems is it's like it's a shared experience, right?
For sure.
So if you're on the high end of the, if we're giants and we have the problems, the people on the other end of the spectrum probably have a lot of the same problems.
Yeah.
Except like flip-flop them. So we're always hot, they're always cold.
Right. Because it's like, because I just had that happen the other night. For instance, like the other end of the spectrum, I was at Walmart and I was standing there looking at like the coffee, and there was this lady next to me who was not, she wasn't killing it vertically. Okay.
Sure.
And she was just standing there and like she kept looking at me.
She needed help.
Yep. And like, but she didn't want to ask me. And so then like we were standing there and she kind of looked over at me a couple times and then kind of left, like went down the end of the aisle and then came back. And the one time then finally when she looked at me, I like made eye contact and I was like, hi. And then she was like, I said hi to her, and then she was like, hi. And then she was like, could you grab that for me? That's up at could you? And then like, because it was almost gone. Like there wasn't one at the front. It was also at the back of the shelf. Yeah. And so.
Which you could reach flat-footed.
And I was like, yeah, I would love to help you. I got it. Like, I'm kidding. But I was like, I grabbed it for her and then I handed it to her and she was like, thank you. And I was like, yeah, you're welcome. And then I sat there thinking like, in my mind, I was like, yeah, there's a small person problem right there. You know?
That's not really what you thought.
That is what I thought.
No, what you thought was, I'll bet one strike, one palm strike to the neck, I could kill this woman. Because I know you, and you're a bit of a sociopath.
No, I didn't think that one time.
This is all a facade.
I didn't think that one time. I was immediately like thinking like she's looking at me, and then she's gonna be like, "Has anyone ever told you that you look like Jason Momoa?"
Right.
And I was gonna be like, "You know what? I have heard that before."
Yeah.
In this very store, actually. And then then we could talk and talk, you know.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, she knows my dad, and then la da da, and then it's like
more like Jason Momoa, you friggin' cow.
Did I tell you about
Hawaiian sea cow?
No, I'm being serious. There was this, but it was funny because it was two dudes, and then one of the guys was like, "You look like Jason Momoa."
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah,
I'm married."
I was like, "Yeah, dude, I appreciate it." I was like, you know.
It's like, you're one of them purdy boys you see on TV.
Yeah, and then he started telling me, he's like, I don't work out or anything. He's like, I shoot a bow and arrow a lot. And he's like, you get a lot of work. It's a hard work. It's a lot of workout. Then I was like, yeah, man.
I'm all for that, dude. I'm all for that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, you know.
That's like, you're being really rude and mean, but I'm going to be nicer because I have to bring this back down. But
sure.
My buddy was telling me about a guy he's working with, and you know how it is with guys. Like, we can kind of guess, like body weight, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, and this is not to be full of ourselves. We just do this for a living. So I think you and I are probably, we're going to be right 70, 80% of the time, probably.
Right.
So he estimates this guy at work.
Jason Momoa. That was quick. That was good.
That just hit you, huh?
No, I just had finally let myself react, Okay. That was pretty funny.
Thanks, dog.
That was pretty quick for you.
So, he estimates this guy around 5'11", 6 foot, thinks that he was upwards of 450 pounds.
That's big.
Yeah. My caveat to that is,
what was the height?
about 6 foot.
Okay.
So it's in the realm.
Yeah, that's
the problem with estimating that size is muscle mass just can ruin your estimate hugely.
Right.
Whether you have a lot or not a lot or
right.
whatever. Well, around where I used to work, he worked in a similar place, but you could do like one lap around the parking lot or whatever is about a mile. There's a way that you could do that, and he did that like 2 or 3 times a day. He's dropped like 100 pounds.
Wow.
And it's like that just goes into like one of our last episodes of like low hanging fruit.
That's awesome.
I love that.
That's awesome.
I love that for him.
That's awesome. That's such a cool thing to just be like, I'm gonna start walking and do it, and then it works.
Well, I think it just goes to show, and I'm not an idiot. Like, no amount of effort can make up for, just a banana. Like, you're eating sticks of butter, like bananas, like on our last episode. Not a lot you can do about that.
Right. Yeah. No.
Still a good idea. still
butter like a banana.
Still a good idea to be physically active, but yeah.
We haven't dropped that episode yet, but I think that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Even still, though, I think that I could do it.
Would we say
I
6
thought about
sticks?
it more. Yeah, 6 sticks.
But you're not melting them? You're just going straight?
Yeah, straight.
Ooh.
I think I could do it.
Yeah, I think you could too, because there's no limit. There's no limit to like the disgusting crap you've eaten. You know what I mean?
That's not true. There definitely is a limit, but
it's like if there was a fear factor for people who only ate stuff, and there were sick degenerates that didn't care about their livelihood,
or like their physical appearance,
or or just like, being attractive to the opposite sex or anything.
Right.
You'd be good at that.
Yeah, I do.
Really
I've thought about it. I've thought about it on Fear Factor a couple of times, like things that people struggle with.
Some of those bum me out though.
I'm like I could do that.
I actually really like. I mean, I was young at the time, but I really liked that show in the beginning, and then they got to this thing where it was like, eat this ball of cheese with maggots in it, and I'm like, dude, that's not fear. That's just like gross factor.
Yeah, they would do the like. I remember one specifically, like somebody was super afraid of snakes. Yeah. And they had to lay in like this container full of snakes.
Yeah,
I don't think I would like that. I think I could. Not a fan, but yeah. And then it kept getting crazier. Like they kept doing stuff like one time they had it where like people had to like walk across the tightrope naked.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No.
That they had to walk across the tightrope naked, and there was a live audience.
Oh wow!
And so people had to like, be like, hey, I have to walk out here naked. And it was like, can you do it or not? And it's like,
which technically like probably is like a huge fear, but we've all heard like the number one fear is public speaking.
Yeah.
How boring is that show? Like, you have to stand up and do 20 minutes of stand-up with like 1,000 people or something.
That would be rough.
I'd be fine at that.
Yeah, I think I could manage.
I'm gonna bomb.
I think I'm gonna do crowd work and just start roasting people.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that would take up at least 15 minutes of it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it would never make it to air on NBC. The type of crap I would say, just to try to get a giggle or two.
That's true. Yeah, they just because they're like, it's all bleep, so we have to bleep out everything.
Yeah, man,
that's a good strategy.
Yeah, my guys. So, big man problem number 78 comes from you, or I don't know what I'm saying. Big man problem number 78 comes at you hot here. It comes at you hot. So, this is big man weather. This is flannel weather.
Absolutely.
This is hoodie weather when everybody's wearing, winter coats and crap. That doesn't sound like a problem to you, and you're right, it isn't. You go to the mall around Christmas time, you can't stand to be in there. Everyone's comfortable. The heat is cranked up to 105, and everyone's freezing.
What are we doing?
What are we doing, folks?
Do
I have to wear a T-shirt just to be okay to walk in public? What are we doing, guys?
No, I can't. I hate that. All my life, I'm like, sweet, dude. It's 38 degrees.
It's
40
time.
degrees. I'm like rocking a hoodie, maybe a stocking cap or a beanie or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you go into Walmart, and it's 100 degrees.
Yeah. And
I'm like, why? I'm like, why?
When I was a kid, the main Thanksgiving dinner we went to was my uncle's house. And it was my great uncle's, my grandma's brother.
Yeah.
So older, great uncle.
Yeah.
I've never been in a home that hot.
Yeah.
And I literally got to the point where like I had to wear just like gym attire.
Yeah.
Because it was just, and also I'm just like crazy full of turkey. I'm just like tryptophan out, you know what I mean? I'm like a junkie overdosing on tryptophan. And just in the corner, just sweating from every pore of my body.
But to me, it's like, why not?
Cold.
Yeah, why not save money for like all these big businesses? Like, why not save money? And it'd be like, hey, people are wearing coats and hoodies, and just let them walk in the store and leave them on. Everybody's peeling them off for the most part. It's not even just us. It's just like everybody's hot. Yeah, it's like, it's just more extreme for me. Do you think like the cold weather and do you think the hoodie, like flannel, that kind of stuff, that's just like, it's like partially a comfort thing? It's like cover up for like the big dudes? Or do you think it's like or just, you know what I'm saying?
Not really.
Well, like, I know that it's like, it's cooler outside, so it makes it nice, but it's like, I'm not rocking a T-shirt in like 30, 35 degree weather.
Right.
I'm usually rocking a hoodie, or at least.
Right.
So, but it's like, I definitely feel more comfortable in a hoodie.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I don't know if that's like a pastime or whatever, but maybe it's like trying to like hide yourself.
No, there's definitely part of that. I mean, we definitely look better in the winter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
but
so.
That's like they've always said. Like I heard on a podcast here recently. Like I've heard it since I was a kid. But I used to have a football coach who would say like, this is probably a little bit chauvinistic, so prepare yourself. But like essentially, like if you find a girl who's like beautiful in the winter,
yeah,
she's like a dime because you're all bundled up. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It hides you, and you're pale, and you're this, and you're that, or whatever. But I think there's definitely truth to that. But another aspect of number 78, big man problem number 78. Imagine if you can't relate to this. Imagine the privilege of being able to wear a sweatshirt with no shirt on underneath it. That is a thing I will never be able to do. Like, people just wear a sweatshirt for the day because they know even in the winter, no matter what the heat's set at, they're going to be comfortable.
That is...
I have to dress in layers, sir.
I've never thought of that.
Yeah.
People do that.
People do that.
Chicks do that all the time. Like the oversized sweater.
Right.
How the... I could never do that.
Not a chance.
You're more of a flannel guy, though.
Yeah, I like a flannel because I like to run a little cool. You know what I mean? Like, I would prefer to be just a shade cold.
Yeah.
Like, not like even warm is like not as comfortable to me, if that makes sense. Like that perfect warm, where you're not sweating.
Right.
It's not as comfortable as being just a little bit cool.
No, yeah, I do like a good flannel, but there's just something about like a hoodie. Like I do have flannels that I really like, but
Well, part of it for me is like hoodies are tough for me.
Yeah.
I mean,
you like zip ups more than you do pullovers.
Yeah, I have a giant belly where you have your weight distributed differently. So like being able to be a little more free. Also, like necks get weird for me when they get tight in the throat.
Yeah,
not as much anymore because I haven't trained as hard, but I have a pretty thick neck, so it becomes a problem. But something, not to get totally off topic of this, but something I was talking to one of our gym members about that I really want to try to implement. When there's snow and ice on the ground, that's going to throw a real wrench in it. But I want to do better about. I want to take the sled outside this winter and like make my body deal with
That'd be awesome.
the weather.
Yeah,
If I've got to be out there in a Carhartt coat, and I'm pulling a sled, so be it.
That reminds me. This is off topic still too, but I saw a reel the other day, and this chick was like going crazy about like how hot it is to see a dude in a Carhartt vest.
Oh,
like a flannel, like maybe it's a t-shirt or a button-up or whatever, but it was like the picture she showed was a picture of a guy in a button-up flannel, and then he had like a Carhartt vest over the top.
Yeah,
and she was just like going bananas over him, and then it was pretty much like it was like 1 million views and went viral, and then like every girl in the comments was like, "Yes, this is my thing.
That's
this
cool.
is when did Carhartt vests become a thing?
Recently, I think.
Because
like, it's because it's been co-opted by other like popular. It used to just be workers, you know what I mean? And there's a whole other thing about that. There's a TikTok channel I really like where a guy does these skits about like blue collar guys.
Yeah.
And it's like you wear Carhartt. It's like, what trade are you in?
Yeah.
You a welder?
Yeah.
You a pipe fitter or whatever?
Yeah.
And he's like, nah, dude, I'm just cold. So there's part of that.
I've told you this in the past, I think. But 2 years ago, you know, when I was getting ready for Nebraska's Strongest, and I was cutting weight, it was through the winter because I think we competed in April or May.
Yeah.
And so like May. I was cutting like through the winter, and that was the lightest I'd been through a winter in a long, long time. And I was so cold because I was in such a massive deficit that month in February.
Yeah.
I was in such a massive deficit where I was like, it was such a weird thing for me because like I never experienced that. Where like even in the house,
that's wild.
I was like cold all the time, and that's just how catabolic I think I was. I was in way too much of a deficit for too long. But it was like,
good point.
But it was like, it was so crazy at night. It would be like I was going like, fan is not pointed on me, but it's like in the room so I can hear it, and there's like multiple blankets, and I was like, I'm getting sick. I told Lacey, I was like, I definitely am getting the flu. I'm like that cold because that's the only time I ever get cold in my like entire life.
Right.
And it was like crazy feeling.
So probably around the same time, because if I'm not mistaken, I think that was a really cold winter.
It was
super
super cold.
About.
Yeah, it was super cold. We had like 2 weeks in a row that it was negative temperatures, but still.
So
like
I had this wild hair, and in those 2 weeks, I went on several walks outside, like long underwear, jeans, boots, Carhartt, like you were bundled.
Yeah.
And I walked for like a couple miles.
Yeah.
Like it's cold enough, people are stopping to give me a ride because they think my truck's running out of gas or something.
Your scooter went down?
Dude, maybe because I was on the verge of death, I was like euphoric. Like making your body deal with that and moving through it, it was like the most natural high I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I don't use that term lightly, but it really was.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to do that again. Like I do think that's probably a little bit of what's going on with like you see people doing the ice baths and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
It was like kind of a nuts feeling. I want to do that again.
You also like whenever I do that and then I go back in, it makes you super sleepy.
Yeah.
Like when you go back in from doing that and then it's super warm in the house, or just regular temperature.
And I think part of that's just like, you know, obviously your body regulating that body temperature or whatever.
Yeah.
But I couldn't imagine what the amount of calories burnt on just, because also keep in mind, like it's not all foot deep snow, but it's harder to move.
Yeah.
You're taking like shorter steps because your feet are sliding or whatever.
Yeah.
Just dealing with that, I think is really cool.
Let me ask you something, okay? Let me ask you a question.
Hey, shoot, Toots. Go ahead and shoot at me.
Shoot, partner.
Go ahead and shoot, playa.
Playa? Where?
Shoot, jabroni.
Where are we at with scarves? Huh? On dudes.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that. A dude can wear a scarf?
Already seen one this year.
So,
that reminds me of something else I saw. Remind me to tell you what I saw at Casey's before I got down there.
I think if you're mid blizzard,
mm-hmm.
and you're in an area where it makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
do your thing, man.
Yeah.
Most of us are going 40 feet from the car to the building.
Right.
Probably don't need that.
I just can't.
Also, are we talking for warmth or are we talking for flare?
I'm gonna say both.
So I don't take that many chances, fashionably speaking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm a pretty meat and potatoes dude. And a lot of that's just been because, like, why am I wearing this fancy scarf when I'm wearing Walmart clothes because nothing fits me or whatever?
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, do your thing, whatever.
I just can't. Every time I see a guy with a scarf where it's like looped around, it's like an infinity scarf that like chicks wear.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't, it just throws me off. I'm like, either you're European.
Yeah.
Or, I missed something. You know what I mean?
You know what I think about every time I see things like that, or a dude in a tie even?
Yeah.
Was Joe Rogan talking about, like, well, I could definitely choke you with that.
I've worn scarves when I was younger, but like not like as like part of an ensemble. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like we were outside for a funeral.
That's your first and only time that you can talk about wearing an ensemble, by the way.
I will, but also
You've met the quota.
I'll do whatever I want to do also.
10 episodes in or less.
That's probably the only time I'm ever going to say it, but I also
That's the only time you're allowed.
Well, but I went I was trying to go full like James Bond, like at like because it was, so we were outside for a funeral.
Okay.
And I was going like I had like a full like nice. Like,
I'm so glad you said that, because it's like, I think that's my answer. Is it's just got to fit. Like when I see it, I can't give you a hard fast rule about it. It's got to fit.
If you saw me during that, you would make fun of me for sure. But I also was like full blown like tie, like the whole caboodle.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and it like went well, but it was like, yeah, that's one of the only times I've ever worn a scarf. But I don't go.
Let me go one step further.
Okay.
How do you feel about gloves?
Oh, I'm not. I wear gloves all the time, like especially when I'm working outside.
That's the thing, though.
Yeah.
If you're working, so I have a bunch of stuff that's just going to live in the truck in case, like, I have to walk.
Right.
Like that's why I want to get a toolbox for the back, just to shove it full of crap like that.
Yeah, I go gloves when I'm working outside and stuff. But no, I mean if I'm going from like car into Walmart.
Yeah, I'm probably not.
What are we doing? Like, just I'm gonna put them in my hoodie pockets if it's that, like if it's negative temperatures and like something's going on, because like I also just think it becomes one of these things where like it's a lot of habit, like you just have them and you throw them on or whatever. But I think people would be surprised with how much they don't need, like if it comes to situation, because I've been outside or going into somewhere and like somebody's car's stuck or like somebody needs help or whatever,
right.
And I was out there for like 45 minutes helping somebody.
I think a lot of that too depends on circulation, because I have had my hands hurt so badly.
Me too.
When I worked in the freezer at Walmart, dude, you couldn't survive without gloves.
Yeah, like
some dudes
you have
did.
to.
I didn't understand it.
I don't understand that.
I think it must be drug usage. I'm not sure.
It has to be. I don't know. I just think I get the same vibes. Like I get complete psychopath vibes when I see a big dude, and it's like a, I don't even know what you call that, but it's like a knitted shirt. I wear them sometimes, but it's just like a few buttons at the top.
Right.
What do you call that? I don't even know what that's called.
Ensemble.
But it's that vest, then like over jacket, then big jacket. But like we're talking a big dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
You know what's kind of weird about that is like you would never see that same energy in the summer. Like you're not walking around with a personalized fan. You know what I mean? There's just something about that. Like I don't have all the answers. Let me start there.
Okay.
But I think there's definitely something to just allowing yourself to be uncomfortable for a little bit of the day.
But that, to me, that like puts you at the other end of the spec. Like it makes me feel like something's wrong with you when you're that big of a dude with that many layers on.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on with you health-wise?
Some of it may be just the pressure to like look the part. You know what I mean? And you're covering up, you're bundling up. But I'm right there with you.
Because I saw a reel like that where some guy was doing like today's fit. It was like today's fit video, and then like it was like vest, sweater vest, like overcoat, then his pea coat, then like jacket, then freaking scarf, and then like it was like this whole thing. And I was like, I couldn't even.
Were you in Saskatchewan? Where are you?
Yeah, live? I was like, what are you doing? Are you in like Antarctica?
Yeah.
Why are you wearing? And it was just like some random dude. And it was like, this is my fit, and it was like all. And granted, like it was all this like super trendy, you know, like had the pants rolled up where they don't go quite to the shoe.
Probably didn't even leave his house that day.
And he's probably like 350, 400 pounds.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, okay, that's cool. You know, like if that makes you more confident, I get some of that stuff. But at the same time, it's like that is not. You're gonna be. That's
dying.
Windows down in the car. He's not comfortable in the car wearing that.
Well, also just that many layers isn't comfortable.
It's just
I guess I can't really say that because I've never had expensive clothing. So maybe like super high end trendy stuff is like wearing nothing. I don't know, but the worst feeling is like when you're leaving the house to go work outside all day and you're wearing like 4 layers.
Did you
just
ever
that Stay Puft? What is it? The Michelin Man, like the
yeah. It's not even worth it.
Not a chance.
Not worth it at all. Did you ever have to go like? Did you ever dress up for any Thanksgivings? Like where you were like, have you ever done that? Like any of the Thanksgivings you went to, whether it be family or whatever, there was this like.
Not since the day I was allowed to dress myself.
Right.
I'm out.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I have had some Thanksgivings where we went to families and it was like, you're not wearing like a t-shirt and a hoodie. It was like we had to wear like a little nicer clothes. You know, it was like we got to dress up a little, like we're doing dress casual.
Right.
And I hated it. I hated it.
Bit of a casual Fridays vibe at the office.
Yeah, and then everybody and their brothers wearing like sweater vests over top their button-ups because it's that time of year.
I did sweaters and sweater vests for a short time in like junior high.
Yeah,
because that was kind of like in, and you could find like a sweater vest and like an oversized. It didn't have to be a perfect fit. You know? You could like size up and be okay there.
Yeah,
because I wasn't. Form fitting wasn't in like it is now. If you need me to be like form fitting like it is now, I'm out. I'm totally out.
I also just don't understand why we want to be uncomfortable like on this day where we're all getting ready to eat a ton of food.
Yeah, I want maternity pants.
I don't. You know what I mean? If I'm like I've come here and you know, especially in the past when it was like there's no holds bar on this. Like I'm gonna go crazy once we get there.
Right.
I'm coming to clock in. You know, I'm coming to go to work.
That's what I love about you. You're just a blue collar guy. You're there for work. You know what I mean?
And now it's like
lunch pail, hard hat. You're walking in. You're sitting down at the table.
Yeah, I mean,
you tuck the tablecloth into your shirt like a bib, which people think is to save your clothes, but it's really just so you don't drop any food.
Yeah,
you don't want to waste any calories.
It's like a return for a basketball. You know, I want the food.
It's like a Papa shot.
Right, and it's like I want it to roll back down the tablecloth back onto my plate.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why do we want to be uncomfortable dressing up? And it's like everybody else is like, that's why I always, like, being older and just not caring. And then, like, having, like, my grandpa would, like, unbutton his, like, he would dress up. Mm-hmm. But that's just how he always dressed, though. Sure. You know? He always dressed up.
And there's something cool about that, too.
Yeah, he was the guy that was, like, rocking the, he was always wearing, like, Dockers and, like, dress shoes.
Khakis
and, like,
a button-up, baby.
Yeah, button-up. And then, like, he would rock he would always wear I don't know what kind of hat it is, but it's like the newspaper boy hat.
Oh yeah.
He would always wear
cab
yeah, and he just looked dope. Like it was just like, this is his thing. And it was cool. Like it was cool, right? But then like when after Thanksgiving dinner, he'd go and like unbutton his pants. And I'm like, that like we're just living at peak level. You know, it's like I'm gonna do whatever I want to do.
You know what's cool about that? Is the theatrics.
Yeah.
Like imagine me standing there, you and I are having words silently and calmly. I start to unbutton my sleeves and roll them up. Mm-hmm. I unbutton that top button.
Yeah.
I let the collar flare a little bit. Maybe I loosen my belt one notch.
Right.
Immediately you know it's business time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's something cool about that.
Yeah.
That I'll never be able to experience.
I know.
Because if I put the button up on, I started with rolled up sleeves.
Yeah, me too.
It is what it is. Hey man, really quickly, we've already talked about this a little bit, but we're going to a little bit. What's the plate looking like tomorrow? What's like first plate? So do you all do a breakfast, or you go straight into? Do you just do the?
Yeah, we just do Thanksgiving dinner.
Us
At
too.
Christmas, we do breakfast.
Samesies.
Yeah.
So what do you think the first plate looks like? Give me the rundown.
So
let me start with the thing that you got to be sure not to forget. What's the thing you're kind of a little bit excited about?
Man, I don't. This sounds weird, but it's not just one specific thing. It's like the combination of everything.
That doesn't sound
weird. If that
weird.
makes sense. Like, I like having everything together, but I will say that over the last few years, maybe like the last like 4 or 5 years, it has its cons. Definitely has its cons. Don't get me wrong. There's downfalls to this, but nobody else in my family is like willing to put up with it. Mm-hmm. So I get the like giant turkey legs, and it's a massive turkey. Like it's they get one of like whatever the biggest size is that you can get from the store. I don't know. It's like 20 pounds or whatever it is.
It's like a raptor.
Yeah, it's pretty much an ostrich, like in just a giant pan.
Emu leg.
Yeah. And so I'll get
leg of emu,
especially since my dad doesn't eat the same as he used to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll get maybe both of them.
You got to pick up the mantle.
Yeah, I'll get both of them, and it's awesome because then
it's back to your roots.
Yeah, it's awesome because then I can go like turkey leg in one hand, and I can hold it like that, and then I can go like fork in the other. So I don't have to like set any. You know what I mean? It's like I can get like bite of turkey, then like mashed potato, and I don't have to.
I think we've learned a lot about you in this short little time period.
Yeah, and if we were over at somebody else's house, like if we were at like a, it wasn't just my family and it was all close.
You'd put a shirt on.
Yeah, I'd put some clothes on, and I would just, dude. It's just awesome. I love that. Like they're like turkey legs are stringy and there's like a lot of tendons and crap in them, so it's like kind of annoying.
There's a little bit of work.
There's a little bit of work involved, but the meat is amazing. Like
that's probably the best meat on
the
there.
meat is amazing, and so like I'll kind of work around that to figure that out. But
if it's cooked right, I've also done like the state fair turkey leg, and it's like been baking all day,
right?
And it's like, well, this is no longer edible.
No, it's not like that. It's like the skin just falls off.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
So my main thing right now, the thing I've been thinking about, it's mostly sides.
Yeah,
like
me too.
Ham's good, turkey's good.
Mm-hmm.
They're not my top 5 meats, but I'm gonna eat way too much of them. But to me, it's like a green bean casserole.
Yeah,
big fan of that with like the onions on top or the whatever onions, and then anything like sweet potato casserole. That's my jam.
Yeah. Because also like
I'm starting to sweat. Having some sort of reaction to this.
We talked about this before, but like, just like turkey though, like, just
Yeah, why do we?
For me,
yeah,
I don't understand why turkey's such a freaking big deal.
Yeah,
like, I would so much rather just us do like, just like buy enough fillets for everybody,
without
and do
a
like, even if it was just like a kind of a crappy sirloin, I would rather that. Like
I would almost any other form of beef.
Yeah,
if you did meatloaf,
yeah,
I'd almost be like, yeah, it makes sense because that kind of goes with the rest of the hearty meal.
But I don't understand this. Like, it's like we have to keep doing turkey, and I get it is like a tradition thing, but just I'm not a huge fan of ham. Ham is lower than me for turkey, and then but turkey's not that high on the list. Like,
I'm probably going ham over turkey.
Are you really?
Well, I've just had a lot of bad turkey in my life.
Yeah.
And that's really scarred me against that. I mean, I think you got to know what you're doing. But I think there's also probably ways you could cook it where I'd like it better.
Yeah.
I've seen people deep fry it and smoke it and all that jazz. My dad did smoke one year that was really good. So I do take that back. If you get it done right, it probably is better for me also.
Yeah, I can't. Like, we do the prime rib for Christmas. And I can't think about it. I can't think about anything else. Like, all I can do is just wait, and I cook it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, it turned out amazing last year because like the year before that it was okay, but it didn't turn out great. And then I fixed the stuff the next year, and it was even better. And I was like,
but like an average prime rib,
yeah, there's
turkey doesn't want to see prime rib.
No,
ever,
not at all, ever. There's no comparison.
If turkey's walking down a dark alley and a prime rib's coming the other way, it's grabbing its purse and it's running.
What do you do if you're vegan at Thanksgiving?
No, I don't think they celebrate holidays because there's no joy in their life.
What do you do?
I think on holidays, I think they go protest.
Yeah.
I think they make a sign about whatever conflict's happening in the world, and they use that time wisely.
Because it depends on the level of vegan you are.
Yeah.
But what if you're like hardcore, like orthodox vegan? There's not much there you can eat.
Yeah.
Like,
I think vegetarian's going to have a much better holiday. Because I think if you just stay away from the meat, you're good to go. Because you know, green bean casserole, stuffing for the most part. I mean, the chicken broth could get dicey, but like I said, I think vegetarian can do some of those, not animal products, but like some of the things.
yeah, no, I agree. I think it's like a weird. Yeah, I don't know. Just like you, all right, oh, this is awesome. I'm gonna eat this giant bowl of lima beans.
I've always said to a similar thing is like, imagine the person who has to work like manual labor, hard living, working for a living.
Yeah.
You've been out in the weather all day. You're freezing. You're frozen to the bone. You're on the drive home, starting to warm up a little bit. You're like, man, I haven't eaten since breakfast. I'm starving. I can't wait to have this broccoli.
Oof.
You know what I mean? Or what's the hearty thing? Maybe it's beans. Something beans. I'm gonna
beans
guess.
related. Yeah.
It has to be, right?
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah, that's just
like, man, I
don't even want to think about it.
I can't wait to get to the bottom of this oatmeal bowl.
I don't even want to think about it, dude.
So a little bit of training talk. We're not going to go in depth over this because we'll spend an hour talking about what we talk about on every podcast. But I saw Mitchell Hooper, who reigning world's strongest man, I believe. Did he win the last one? Or I don't remember.
I don't remember.
So little stat about him that I think is pretty rad. I want to tell you. It was like his 5th meet was the world's strongest man, where in this video he said this, so I didn't know this. He broke Brian Shaw's record. He won the heat. Brian Shaw hadn't failed to win the heat to go to the finals until Mitchell Hooper was in his heat. He beat him.
Holy cow.
He hit the podium, and for the last 11 meets straight, he has not failed to hit the podium. And he's won several of them. He's having like a meteoric rise. And he talks in the video how he wasn't like dreaming of this as a kid. It just kind of happened. He was a marathon runner. So he went to school, becomes essentially like a physical therapist. I don't think that's necessarily what he does. I think it's more movement based than you know, but it's in Canada, so they don't do anything right. So I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
He wanted to, and I did really like this call out. He wanted to push himself to a place where the people he was training, he had some like real world, like he could talk, he could speak to it.
Right.
So because he wanted that context of like what it takes to push your body to this place, he becomes this marathon runner.
Okay.
Dropped a ton of weight. Like he's like 150 pounds up or something, 125 from when he was running.
Wow.
Also weirdly didn't look that good. I mean, I know that sounds like really judgmental or whatever, but
just
he just has such
a
big frame,
yeah.
You know? And he has such a big frame, and he's like lacking delts, basically, and, you know, traps and whatnot.
Right.
But he was shredded.
Yeah.
He ran like 4 marathons. Goes to Australia for some reason. I think it was the second part of his like schooling, and gets into powerlifting, and then gets into strongman. And like 4 or 5 meets later, he gets an invite to World's Strongest Man, which is just nuts.
That's just...
So that's a little backstory, but
crazy.
I bring this up because he's competed at the highest level and won at the highest level. Like he's weirdly, because it's happened so fast, he's, in my opinion, getting pretty close to the discussion of like greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Longevity matters to me, so we'll see. But he stands up to do this lecture, and he brings up his five tenets of how he got there. And I'll recite as many as I can from memory, but you've got the picture there that I screenshotted.
Yeah.
The top one, and I love this, is linear periodization.
Right.
So for those of you that don't know, linear periodization is essentially over time just doing a little bit more every week, just incrementally.
Right.
And I think there's what do I want to say? There's like a common thought that like it's like 2 to 5% more each week,
right.
which is just chip shots. It's nothing.
Yeah.
Now, he did go into a little bit more depth we normally look at linear periodization as being more volume, so being more sets, reps, or weight every week. He talked about rep quality. He talked about rest pauses. He talked about something. So basically, he's just doing a little bit more work.
Right.
That's what I'm going to call it each week.
Yeah.
Not trashing. So respecting his nervous system was another one. Was recovery another one, or was that just...
Yeah, simple recovery.
Oh, read them for me, because I've already...
Yeah, so respect the nervous system, focus on basic movement patterns, common sense warm-ups, and simple recovery.
Yeah, so I'm going to run through these really quickly.
Okay.
But respect the nervous system, meaning like you're not just totally trashing yourself. You're not hitting a 10 out of 10, RPE 10.1 every week. Like you're taking it pretty simple there.
Right.
Recovery, he talked about, he doesn't put a lot of stock in that.
Right.
But it's like long walks. It's like active recovery.
Yeah.
The warm-ups, he did a little bit into that. I won't go too into depth over that, but basically
just basic crap.
So that's exactly why I wanted to bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
At the very, very highest level, he was worrying about the building blocks.
Right.
And I think there's something to be said about that.
Oh, for sure.
And then basic movement patterns, I think that one is one that I could agree, disagree with. Like we could go into depth over that. You can't disagree with his results, so I'm not saying that. But like he talks about the first like push press event that he had, everybody was doing it behind the head.
Right.
He was doing it like a front rack position because he just didn't have that experience.
Right.
His first time pulling a truck was at World's Strongest Man. He learned how to do it the night before with the meet director who apparently had never competed in World's Strongest Man. So there's a lot of it that I think what I would add to his that he didn't really touch on was he had such a base, like a baseline of like athleticism because he had played college football. He had played like hockey. He had played all these other things. I think you pick up weird movement patterns easier when you've just exposed yourself to that.
That's very true. Yeah.
We don't have to go into depth. I just thought this was it was timely because we have just been talking about this over and over and over again. And I know personally, I can't say I know this. I feel that I have lost clients because linear periodization, man. That's where I live. There are tons of great methodologies out there. You can't argue with Louis Simmons and conjugate training.
Right.
That definitely works.
Right.
But for your average Joe Schmo who's working a job and just trying to get stronger, linear periodization will work for you.
Yeah.
I just that's a blanket statement. I don't like using those.
Well, but you know what I think though what you're touching on too, which is I don't know how many of the guys at the top wouldn't they may change one of the bullet points a little bit, or they maybe add one, but it all of them would be yeah, makes sense. That's pretty much what I did. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's other people that would put a lot of stock into other things. You look at Brian Shaw and it's his recovery stuff. But maybe I don't know how long he's been doing all of that. I don't know. Maybe once he got older, he was all right, I got to put some stock into this so I can keep competing for longer.
Well, it also. You're right, but it also, when you've hit your potential and how quickly you hit it, I think dictates what you need to do to A, stay there, like what you're saying, and B, like Eddie Hall said in a Mitchell Hooper video, is if I only get 1% out of these different recovery modalities and I do 5 of them, now I have 5% increase. So it's I think it's also a question of building up to it and then maintaining. Yeah. I think there's two different arguments.
Yeah, and it's but it's just it's just crazy to it's so difficult to not make it overcomplicated. So many people just overcomplicate the whole process, and because I think the one thing that is kind of a bummer about it all is that these 5 things are awesome. It's that's what you could tell somebody to do, and they could do it, right? But it's you and I could do the same thing as Mitchell Hooper, and it's just not going to turn out the same. Sure. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. And so, but that's the point, right? Is that, he hit the genetic lottery.
And he touched on that. He touched on, picking, he didn't say this, but this is my summation here. It's pick a sport that benefits your
Right.
Genetic predisposition. He also didn't talk about supplements or AKA drugs.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure that's
Oh,
involved
yeah,
with a lot of folks.
That has to be
if
part of
not
the
him,
discussion.
Some people.
Yeah.
He only talked about one piece of like off the wall training equipment. He's like, nothing I use is like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I guess a thesis statement of this is there was no secret stuff. There was no secret. Your trainer doesn't want you to know this exercise type of thing.
Yeah, for sure. It just is. It's just you talk to. I mean, and that's with like every sport. You talk to like the guys that are the best and the guys that are the great coaches, and it's like you just have to get better and better at the basics over years and years and years.
Absolutely. And to kind of sum this up, because we've talked about this so much that we're already beating a dead horse, and I'm sure we're going to continue to talk about it. To sum it up, shamelessly, I brought this up because he agrees with me.
Right.
So, there is that. There's a little confirmation bias there.
Right.
But Mitchell Hooper's it's like slowly becoming one of my favorite athletes for stuff like this because he has the university training. Like he has the credentials after his name.
Right.
He has competed and thrived at the highest level.
Mm-hmm.
He's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You could pick the guy, and I'm not saying you need to do both. I'm just saying, you have the type of person who looks for a coach because he has what the person wants.
Right.
This guy's strong. He must be able to get me strong.
Right.
And then you have the guy who goes to the guy who's read every study and knows the science inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows how the body works, so I want what he has, whatever. He is like the inside of a Venn diagram that I really like.
Yeah.
So, like a Chad Wesley Smith who I don't know that he ever got like an advanced degree in it, but he definitely had the knowledge. He understood how the body worked. Or a Mike Isratelli or like Dr. Mike is like probably like a category above that because
he's definitely a academic.
He's a freak. I like him.
Yeah, I do too.
But I don't know. It's just good resources.
No, it is really good. It is really good. It's like it's cool to see it all. Just like it's five bullet points.
Yeah, and
it's like if you follow that forever, you're gonna like keep making progress. Like
essentially, I mean, there's like a day where we won't get stronger anymore, but
right. But I mean, like there's other way to progress besides that.
Yeah, for sure.
So
man.
I like that. That's really good. Really quickly before we close this out, I stopped at Casey's, right? Grab some energy drinks before I came down here.
Casey's sponsor us.
Casey's, please sponsor us. This is getting ridiculous. How do we get this? How do we get a Casey's executive to hear this?
I don't know. I think we have to. I don't know, but I think we're going to have to kidnap somebody. I just know that gets eyeballs.
This guy, and I'm not. Look, I am throwing a little bit of judgment on this guy because of like it's like clearly this is not good for your health. But it's. At the time, it was like 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And he stopped by Casey's, and he had 5 Tall Boy 4 Locos.
Wow. Getting the party started.
5.
We might just be prepping for tomorrow, though.
5 Tall Boy 4 Locos.
Right.
And the reason that I think that this may be an issue is because when he left, he was on a bicycle.
I hate to be judgmental.
That kind of confirms, right?
All the trappings of a man who doesn't make good decisions.
Yeah, it had all because I was like, okay, you know what? That could be for him and his buddies, and it's for tomorrow,
Yeah.
And then when he left on the bike, I was like, oh.
You don't have 5 friends.
There's no license.
Not a chance.
So it was like, that was kind of wild. Guess the flavor.
They were all the same?
Yeah.
Oh, so those are all for him?
Yep.
Yeah,
all the same flavor.
Assortment?
Yeah, all the same flavor.
I don't know the flavors. Is it like a fruit flavor?
Yeah, it was like what was that? It was the one that I had before.
I'm going to say raspberry.
Yeah, blue raspberry.
Blue raz?
Blue raz.
I'm a big blue raz man.
No, myself. I know. I get that, but this is not, this isn't. Like
those taste like garbage.
Yeah.
Guarantee.
Blue raspberry.
We used to do that in college, and I actually really liked it. It was like, what do we call it?
Was it Tall Boy Roulette?
No, but it was something similar, and sometimes we would just do 6-pack Friday or a strange 6-pack Friday where we just get a weird beer.
Right.
And oftentimes it was just like malt liquor or something terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people were just trying to make
struggle
stuff gross. Yeah. Make stuff gross. Yeah.
Well, sorry. My daughter just had to... I'll discipline her, don't worry. I'll never let that happen again. Yeah, man. That's a weird judgmental story to end on, but
I thought it was funny, but
no, it's super funny.
Yeah.
I think the bike really makes that story.
Yeah, the bike is what really finalized it for me.
He's like, can't get a DUI if I'm on a bike. But
he's riding a horse.
Yeah.
I actually think that still counts as operating a vehicle.
What, the bike?
The horse.
Oh,
I think I read that somewhere.
But does the horse have to be drunk?
No. Yeah, I think you want the horse to be sober.
But can the horse get in trouble?
No. It's not the horse getting in trouble. It's like they treat it like you're driving a car.
Oh, that makes sense. You probably should. That probably should be how it's done. Hey, guys. This is for my brethren of the big out there. My big boys. Have a great holiday. No, don't have a good holiday. Have a good Thanksgiving, because that's what it is.
Yep.
Enjoy your time. Take a day off the gym. Take a day off of tracking.
Yeah.
Make smart decisions when you can, but enjoy yourself. You know, your life doesn't matter how good your physique is if you don't enjoy your life.
It's true.
So we're going to be back. Hopefully we release this soon. I'm not sure when it'll go out because my producer's kind of
super hot. Yeah.
Well, it's not,
very, 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 very like driven and focused, and
you definitely have a je ne sais quoi about you.
Yeah, very just. The discipline is insane.
Yeah. All right. Well,
a miracle.
we love you. Don't ever say ensemble.
Bye, everybody.